Hey folks, David Stewart here. Sylvester Stallone is a bit like the Motorhead of current Hollywood personalities. He just delivers year after year what people actually want rather than what I think tends to dominate Hollywood now, which is what studios think you ought to want. Of course, this is a reaction to the new Rambo trailer, Rambo Last Blood, a title I like a lot. And if you were to compare my reaction to this new Rambo trailer to, say, Terminator Dark Fate, there's one movie that I'm a whole lot more excited to see, and only part of it has to do with the execution of the preview. And that movie, of course, is going to be Rambo Last Blood. The preview is executed really, really well. It has a bunch of different scenes. It doesn't reveal any plot elements, which I like. It shows you the scenes which are going to set the appropriate expectations, and those expectations are lining up with the historic expectations that you'd have for a Rambo movie. So no plot reveals, which I like. I don't like plot reveals in a preview. I don't like them to give away the plot. Maybe at the most a log line, the setup. This is Rambo fighting this opponent. But we don't even really get that. We just see the scenes of Rambo, the drama. It just goes straight for the emotion and the past expectations of the movie. And the other reason that I want to see Rambo more than this new Terminator movie is actually the history of Rambo movies. Kind of like Motorhead. They've delivered a product that meets expectations every single time. There's also been big gaps between Rambo movies. There was a big gap between Rambo 3 and John Rambo. And that is actually not a bad thing. That means that they're not milking the franchise to death. They're not putting out a movie unless they're going to be able to put out a product that's going to be profitable, that's going to meet fan expectations, that's going to continue the franchise. And so this 11-year gap between the last Rambo movie and this one also cues me into that they're not rushing to try to capitalize on the success of that last movie. They're waiting to give another installment to the franchise. There's some other things I liked to see in this particular preview besides, the classic shot of Rambo drawing his bow, sharpening his knife, those highly dramatic images. And that was Balboa Productions. So when you see a Sylvester Stallone production company, you know that there's a little bit more skin in the game with this movie than there would be with, say, a Terminator movie, where the interests have been divorced from the original creators and brought back, and they're all over the place. The other thing is, as far as I know, Sylvester Stallone does have a writing credit on this movie. Of course, he had a writing credit on First Blood. He wrote Rocky. He's very underrated as a writer. He's not known as a writer. He's known as an action hero, but he actually is a talented and skilled screenwriter. And so it's good to see that writing credit as well, because that also lets me know that there's skin in the game. There's that artistic touch, that desire to produce a movie that's going to really please fans and is going to really keep the franchise as a good standard. Be a good final installment to the franchise. I like the name Last Blood because it means it's going to be hopefully like the close of this. Now, that doesn't mean that at some point Hollywood's not going to reboot, requel the movie somehow. But as far as this entire franchise is concerned, I think it's a great closing note for what we've had. And I think that the fact that you have more skin in the game is going to mean that this is probably going to be a more faithful franchise iteration than what we've seen. Really, over the last few years in Hollywood, we've seen nothing but bad franchise iterations. So this one, I think, might actually be one that bucks the trend, and that's because there is more personal attachment to what's going on. You have Sylvester Stallone involved with a character that he's really is him in a lot of senses, and that he's been involved with writing and is now helping to produce and things like that. So I'm really looking forward to this movie a lot more than Terminator Genisys. In fact, this is one of the franchise movies that I would rarely be excited about, and that has to do with the history of the franchise as far as meeting expectations. There's also, I guess, been some drama on the internet as far as what's going to be going on in this movie that's been upsetting people, I guess, because I think there's going to be he's like fighting drug traffickers or something like that. I'll comment on that if I have more information. But if you have information, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about this and some of the fun internet drama that might be surrounding it. And I will see you guys next time. Don't forget the Right Stream happens every single Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Greenwich Mean Time, 2 a.m. I'm sorry, it's in the middle of the night in Europe, but that's the time that I can do it here on the West Coast of the United States. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one.